So this week's readings focused on the issue of transparency, in particular how it affects governments, politicians and citizens as well. So transparency of information pretty much means that it's easily accessible for individuals. So this idea is, further explored in the reading that I focused on and the openness of the government through Lawrence Lessig's article. So he states that transparency in a government means that the public has access to the happenings of that government. So I took this to be as technology has increased over time and improved, and politicians were often accused of obscuring the truth. However, there are many media outlets now that this does not seem to be a big problem, as it used to be in Australia. So social media has a big impact again on politicians and governments around the world. There's blogging and other internet sites which have, enabled more people to publish their own work and therefore expand on their own opinion. So this has shifted the power of politics already to more being in the hands of individuals like us, as we're able to voice our own opinion more regularly. WikiLeaks is a really good example of this. It's an online system that provides information to the public, particularly with the US government's foreign activities. And I'll talk about that a bit later as well. So social media has not just enabled the public to have a new type of voice. Politicians are now regular users of Twitter and Facebook as well. So documenting for all to see more of a personal insight into themselves. These social media sites have enabled politicians to constantly be accessible to the public, enabling them to be present 24/7. So, social media sites are a great way of reaching the younger demographic who might not see all the news bulletins, but, they'll definitely scroll down their Twitter pages numerous times throughout the day. Lawrence Lessig also explores the concept of transparency through particularly the government. So he explains transparency movement. So this combines the power of media, network technology and government data, so the public will be easily able to process and understand it. Before I explain all this even further, to get back to basics, transparency again can be defined as something that can be seen, easily noticed or perceived. So much of the government proceedings and political outcomes derive from public opinion and, more importantly, social media. Technology is making information easier and easier to access, distribute and also publish. So again, WikiLeaks is a system designed to provide the public with all the government information and documents, but in an easy manner. New media has changed the framework of government organisations. Politicians' personal lives have always been heavily, publicised and scrutinised by the mainstream media. And now they've actually got transparency to a new level. With these politicians using Twitter, they allow themselves to be looked at personally as well. So Lessig points out the increase as well in society wanting to go so thoroughly informed. This could also, in hindsight, turn into chaos. So there are particular audiences, he states, that are not equipped to deal with such information. So this might lead to unnecessary outbreaks, protests, etc. Obama also uses Twitter, has over 15 million followers and uses the media platform to address as many age groups as possible. He tweets about, government proceedings, news, sometimes personal things, photos of his family, and I think it's a really good example of how the government embraces and utilises this new media, which has become really embedded in our lives. Another example of this would be Coney 2012, which was the viral video, and this was pretty much a media event. It's a new media ecology that interrelated all new media, acting as a catalyst for instant information and reaction. And the speed at which it travelled was ridiculous. They had millions and millions of views in the first few days. So in conclusion, new media technologies have instigated the way in which the public feels they should have a higher level of access of information on the government, although the overall problem in which Lessig addresses might cause data revealed to become really overwhelming and therefore lead to more harm than actually good.